Okay, I've been wanting to do this since last year. I am going to be testing this watercolor activity book. I got this because I like to just zone out and create something without having to think a lot about what I'm doing. I just want to enjoy the moment, you know? And you know your girl loves a good Christmas item. But in all seriousness, this book is really cool because everything in here is planned out for you. This is not sponsored, by the way. I bought this with my own money. I got it from Magnolia's website last year for $20 and it is $22 now. Just wanted to put that here in case it helps anybody. I can link it below if I remember. I do think this should be more like $15 though, but I will tell you why later in this video. Goes over supplies that you would need. It also teaches you about mixing colors, which is extremely helpful, especially if you are very new to watercolor. And then there's just a bunch of different sketched out pictures, little step-by-steps on how to bring it to life, and you just paint it. I need to find one to do. I think I want to do this cute little tree. That sounds fun. Little step-by-step on the side. Let's start with this one, and then we'll keep flipping through the book. It's kind of hilarious that I'm making this video because I just posted a video with my favorite art supplies of 2024, and you folks called me out on not naming any watercolor supplies. The truth is, I just haven't really used watercolor this year, but I remembered that I have this book and I really want to use this book. So I'm hopping back into watercolor and I'm actually pumped for this. I'm so excited. Let me show you what watercolor supplies I have because it has been a hot minute. This is probably the main thing I will use in this video. I made this watercolor palette with, I think, Daniel Smith watercolors like 2 years ago or something. I also have a bunch of cute little watercolor palettes I got from Prima Watercolor. I'm pretty sure they rebranded. I don't even know if they go by this name anymore, but I have always loved their watercolors. They're like super affordable, very aesthetically pleasing, cute little portable palettes. So yeah, I might use these too. I have the Tropicals palette. Love their swatch cards. Pastel Dream is probably one of my favorites. So yeah, those are the supplies I'm gonna be using. And my most important art supply, my coffee. To be fair, it's an obnoxious amount of half and half. By the way, here's my water jar of choice. We love reusing a good jar here. Also, I just think the illustration on this jar is so cute, so I'm not taking it off. Okay, to be honest, I'm probably not gonna reference this page that much except for potentially color palette inspiration. I mostly bought this because the drawings were really cute. Let's not mix up our coffee and our water. Wow. It has been a minute since I've used watercolor. This whole thing just looks so fun. I can't wait. Let's start with this big brush. I kind of want to go for more of a minty colored tree. Oh, I love that this can be kind of messy and it's okay. Before we continue, I have the most exciting news for you folks. So for those of you who have been with me for years, you know that like 7 years ago now, we created this Blubblefly character together. And I have done different versions of them over the years and united them all together on this sweatshirt. This Blubblefly family sweatshirt is now available at mirabyler.com. But the most exciting news that I want to share with you folks is by the time this video goes up, from now until December 3rd, 2024, you can enjoy the biggest sale of the year in my shop. As a small business owner, I don't do sales very often, but this is the 1 week of the year where you can get the best prices on all the items in my shop. So I'm doing tiered coupons this year. That means the more you spend, the better deal you get. I'm gonna display the coupons on screen right here, but basically everybody can get 10% off their entire order with the first coupon code. If you spend $50, you can enjoy 15% off your order. And if you spend $100 or more, you can enjoy 20% off your entire order in my shop. It gets better though, because if you spend $200 in my shop, you can enjoy 25% off your order. This is the biggest sale I have literally ever done in my shop. So if you've been eyeing an original painting, this is seriously like the best time to get it. I never offer 25% off, but for this week and this week only, you can take advantage of these deals, get your holiday shopping done, treat yourself. Another one of my favorite things that I have released this year are these pencil cases here. I've done several designs now. I also have stickers, hand-painted bookmarks, recipe cards, washi tape, mouse pads, Christmas ornaments. I'm currently knitting a ton of new paint blotting rags, and there's so many other things. There's other sweatshirt designs. Literally everything you see in my shop, you can use these coupon codes for. So go enjoy it for the next entire week at mirabyler.com. This is my thank you to you for being a part of my art journey. No pressure at all to use it. Oh, and this is one of the things I'm most excited about, these holiday cards that just came out in my shop. I made these myself. The inside is blank in case you're not sentimental and you don't want to have a mushy message, or in case you are sentimental and you want to write 2 entire pages. Anyway, go enjoy these deals at mirabyler.com for the next entire week. I will say this, the watercolor paper in here is very smooth. I'm not used to painting on super smooth watercolor paper, so this is a bit of a learning curve for me. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit and come back to it later. Let's open up this pastels palette for a second. There's this really cute pink that I want to use. It's just so good. I've been thinking about it and I think a pink, oh, that's so bright though. Pink star for the top would be so cute. Lighten it up a little bit and there we go. Little star. All right, I am so afraid that I'm gonna get stuff in here. Okay, maybe I will use some of these pastel colors actually for the ornaments too. Kind of feeling it, you know? Oh, so cute. Ooh, like a little mustard-y color. That would also be cute. Oh, watch me about to be just getting into a watercolor phase again. I can just see it happening. Oh no. This is so fun. I'm doomed. I like too many things, y'all. Something in me kind of wants to make this tree or like the habitat around it glow yellow. Ooh, or maybe I can make the star glow yellow. This little stripe can be pink. A little bit of shading on these ornaments. Isn't gonna hurt nobody. Maybe I should make that little star glow. Let's just see what happens. I'm actually pretty happy with the little glowing around that. It just adds some warmth, you know? Wow, this is so relaxing. There's something so nice about not having to plan an art piece, but just opening a book. It's decided for you. You just get to basically color it in. It's like a watercolor coloring book. If you need help, then there's help on the side. That's so cool. By the way, I didn't even say who made this coloring book. It's by Emily Lex. So yeah, I decided to do more of like a pastel theme. This was this one. I will say this, I think it's kind of hard to get this level of contrast on whatever this paper is. I'll just be really honest with you. The watercolors that I'm using are Daniel Smith for the majority of these pieces, very pigmented. But I wanted to mention that for people who are very curious about the performance of certain papers. It's just a thing that I noticed, but it might come with it being a smooth paper. Honestly, I don't really know because watercolor is not my like area. Yeah. Aw, I just realized you can cut along the dotted line to remove your artwork. That's so cute. Oh, by the way, there's like practice pages in here. I do feel like for the price of this, it could have been less because there's a lot of filler pages, like one sketch per page and then a filler page for practicing, another sketch. Yeah, I just feel like I love the concept, but I think the price point could have been a little bit lower for how much artwork you're getting. Oh, but I need to decide what to do next. Let's do the reef. I'm just feeling inspired. Maybe we'll do a couple things here. This is fun to do with a really large brush, so you can do like messier strokes. Kind of loving that right now, not gonna lie. assuming that my color palette is going to be pretty similar to this because I love a good traditional Christmas wreath. This is a cool coloring book just for learning though. Like I feel like I have more permission to practice different techniques because I didn't draw this. I'm just like here to paint, yo. So less pressure if I mess around and mess up. I didn't spend the time drawing it. I just bought the book. Oh, those pine cones are so fun. I'm loving trying to do like the messier, more gestural watercolor brush strokes. Like I've always wanted to be that person, but I always get all tense. So yeah, I'm trying to achieve that with this one. We'll see how it goes. Oh, okay, I need to wait on some of these berries to dry. But in the meantime, I think I have a fun idea that I want to try. I think it would be so fun to actually put this on a front door, you know? Wreath? Reef. Am I saying it wrong? It definitely ends in a TH, but do you actually phonetically say it like that? Or do you put an F on the end of it? Let me know how you say it. I think I pronounce it like coral reef, but I know it's not that. Anyway.
Reef. Reef.
I am not trying to practice saying this. Get out.
Reef.
It's kind of like how you're so confident about a song lyric when you're singing it and then you realize you've been saying it wrong your whole life once you Google it. Yeah, it's probably this situation. All right, now that I'm using this book a little more and getting a feel for the paper, I feel like I'm not super impressed with this paper. It just doesn't feel like it soaks in very well. Like that should be very pigmented and it's not. I just wanted to be honest with you folks since I'm testing this out. Very cute coloring book though, and I'm enjoying this. Like it's aesthetically pleasing and I think that's why it sells very well, but there are just some things about it that I wish were a little bit different. We'll see how this dries. I like really puddled it. It's on thick. Maybe I'll just do a couple layers. I don't know, we'll see. I just don't think this is actual watercolor paper. I think it's more like thick cardstock that you would use for colored pencils. This is just so fun though. It's drying a little blotchier than I would maybe prefer, but something about the vibe is jiving with me too, so it's a love-hate thing at this current moment. I'm gonna try layering it again, this time without a lot of water. All right, well, there we go. I need like a good grayish color now. I'm just gonna mix all of this. So there needs to be like a door frame, but I need the house to have a little bit of color up here. Ooh, I forgot, there's some leaves in here that I need to do. First coffee. Just gonna do a little bit of shadow work, nothing too fancy. I'm getting carried away with this one. See, this is why art is just so fun. If you create because your heart just truly wants to create, it's just so fun. Okay, I think some of these are gouache, and I totally forgot in my palette that I put gouache in here, but I did. Okay, so my color scheme is a little bit similar. I will say it's really hard to build up the amount of contrast that they have on their page compared to mine. But I will say this, the finish on this piece of paper in contrast to this piece of paper is very different. Like, I don't know if this is a satin finish or what, but I just cannot achieve this contrast. I am a little bit determined here. Let's just see how that dries. Okay, that's another layer. I think it worked out pretty well. I would say it's still kind of difficult to achieve these colors though. You just have to layer. I just need to let that dry. I might just cut it out of the book because I'm too impatient. Okay, let me just see what else is in this book. Let's do the wrapping paper. I think this one will be really fun because you can kind of be creative with all the patterns that you put on it. I think it'll be fun anyway. do some little finishing touches. This one was really peaceful. I think theirs is definitely cuter than mine. Like, that's the vibe I would go for with wrapping presents, personally. But I had fun. I got playful. I had fun. So a couple things to tell you. First, it has been an hour and 34 minutes since I started that camera. And in that length of time, I did 3 doodly watercolor pieces. I took some breaks in between. That includes the breaks that I took to let things dry. So the reason why I'm saying that is for people who want to create stuff but don't necessarily have a lot of time. I think this is a great idea for people who are in that situation. For instance, I'm a twin mom. So when I'm doing art outside of work and I'm just trying to relax, like tonight, this is probably something that I would gravitate to, something that I could do in like 20-25 minutes and then pivot to something else. Some other thoughts that I'm going to reiterate here at the end of the video. This book is very aesthetically pleasing and it's actually really well made. The thought that went into designing this to make it cute was a decent amount. I'm not going to close this all the way because it's drying, but I think a major selling point for this book is how aesthetically pleasing it is. That kind of stuff sells. But again, when I purchased this book, it was $20. It is now $22 on Magnolia's website. It could be other places, but that's just where I found it. I have seen it grow in popularity since last year. So I'm gonna count for you exactly how many art activities are in this book. 1, 2, 9, 10. In this whole book, there's only 10 watercolor painting activities. So each activity is costing you roughly $2 if you wanna think of it in that sense. From a consumer standpoint, I'm a little bit disappointed from how little artwork there is to color in this book. It feels like a lot of this book is actually filler, because the backs of all these pages are blank, and then the next page is just a little practice page. I'm somebody who likes to look at the gray area though too, and this does label itself as a workbook. So providing all those empty pages for you to practice like does make sense for a workbook, but I think it's an obnoxious amount of blank pages, especially if you're paying $22 for this. The paper in this book could definitely be better for the price point, but something that I will say that I think drives the price up a little bit is the knowledge that this book provides. So it is a workbook, and in the beginning of this book, there's multiple pages on watercolor techniques like mixing and doing gradients and stuff. And then for every page that you get to paint, there's a finished page that you can kind of look off of, and you can either copy it or just take it for inspiration. I was inspired by a lot of those pages. The color palettes were really nice. So yeah, I just wanted to say those things because there are a lot of pros and cons about this book. I just wanted to be as transparent as possible. It is hard to get a lot of contrast and deep pigments with this paper. And I mentioned this in the video, but the palette that I used, I built this myself with Daniel Smith watercolors. They're notorious for being like really high quality watercolors. So because it was difficult to get a lot of contrast with a really high quality watercolor, I honestly don't know how this paper would perform with something more student grade like an Arteza palette or even like Crayola. I have no idea. Anyway, that is my brutally honest review. I feel like I'm kind of a gentle reviewer because I'm a person who's easily impressed, but not so much by this coloring book, I would say. I am a little disappointed with it. Will I continue using it? Absolutely. I did enjoy it, and I am somebody who likes these fun, lighthearted things for the process. So if you're somebody who doesn't care about all the things I just said, you might love it. You might love it. But if you're somebody like me who is really excited to get this thing, I also feel like that's just helpful information to know. I'm still really glad I got it. It's really cute, and it's giving me something to do to relax and unwind this holiday season. With that being said, thanks so much for hanging out. I'm trying to do some easier videos here and there, especially with it being busy at this time of year. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.